My name is Yvonne Coombes, and I am the CEO and one of the co-founders of Operation Deploy Your Dress.
So what inspired you to help create Operation Deploy Your Dress?
We've said this many times to people, but we've kind of considered Operation Deploy Your Dress our accidental baby. It was supposed to be a 2-day event that we were doing at Fort Bliss, Texas. We knew that there were a number of military balls going on post, and we were spouses from 3 different units who were all having military balls around the same time. And we wanted to help boost the attendance at these military balls, especially with the military spouses. And the military spouses mostly that we were trying to reach were those of the junior soldiers. And we knew that a lot of times it wasn't that they didn't want to go to the event, it's that they couldn't afford to go to the event. The events can be pricey. It's a dress, it's tickets, it's a babysitter, it's getting your hair done, all the things. When it adds up, it can be pricey.
Yeah.
And so we thought if we could take away a piece of that cost, maybe somebody, maybe more people will show up. And we knew that one way we could take away a piece of that cost was hanging right in our closets. A lot of us had dresses, or our friends and family and neighbors had dresses that they had worn one time to not even a military ball, but to a fancy wedding or on a cruise ship or whatever, whatever the case may be. They had these dresses hanging in their closet that they were never going to wear again, but they had too much of an emotional connection to just send it to a thrift store or just donate it away. And so when we started asking our friends and neighbors, hey, do you guys have any dresses that you want to donate? We're going to put them up at the community center and we're going to give them away. Everybody started saying, yes, I've been looking for something to do with these. I wasn't ready to let it go, but for this reason I can, and we kind of were able to tap into that. Like, you can still have an emotional connection with that dress, but they're helping somebody else with that dress. They know it's not just going to go and sit on a rack at a thrift store or sit in a landfill someplace or something. It was going to go for a cause and for a purpose. And so people were very generous and started donating their dresses. And before we knew it, we had more dresses than what we knew what to do with.
That's great. So how is it, to support the newer wives coming into this? First, can we backtrack? How important is it, how important is it to be going to a military ball and make sure, dressed up and all that?
Absolutely. On the surface level, it seems like it's just kind of adult prom, right? From an outsider looking in, it's an adult prom. And maybe for some people that is what it is, but who wanted to be left out of prom in high school? Nobody. So why do you want to be left out of adult prom? Nobody wants to be left out of adult prom. But on a deeper level, so much happens at these military balls. There's a lot of traditions that are explained and take place at the ball. There's a lot of camaraderie that's built at these military balls. There's a lot of spouses may never meet anybody else from their service members unit except for at an event like this, because they maybe don't live on post or they work during the day. So they're not out at these other events that they could be meeting people. And so this is their opportunity to meet and connect with somebody, especially before a deployment, before any kind of big field exercise. They're able to meet and connect with people who are in your same service members unit that you can reach out to if you have a question, if you have an emergency and you're far away from friends and family that you've grown up with. And just sometimes also for that spouse to kind of see, a lot of times there's a slideshow and there's a lot of chatter about maybe a deployment that they've just come back from or something that they're working on at work, whatever the case may be, that chatter's taking place. And you can kind of connect the dots like, okay, now I get why my service member needed to be gone all those days or needs to come home late at night. I understand it a little bit more because I'm seeing this here. These people are depending on them. These people are, they're part of a team. It's more than just kind of a cog in a machine. They're truly part of a team and a family there as well. And you're able to see that and connect with that.
As a military spouse, how important is it to have a support system with people going through similar experiences?
I think that that's the key. It's with people going through similar experiences. Like, I remember my very first duty station that I went to with my husband. I was in Washington State. My family was all in New Mexico. I had never lived away from home, never lived away from my friends that I had grown up with and went to high school with, never lived away from my parents and my brother and my cousins and my aunts. I didn't have that ready-made support system. And so I was able to go to events like military balls and meet people who were about to go through the same thing I was about to go through. I mean, this is going to age me a bit, but when we moved to it was Fort Lewis. Now it's JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord. But when we moved to Fort Lewis, it was the July before September 11th. Like everything changed, not only for America, obviously for America, but for military families.
Right.
Everything changed. It wasn't a matter of if our service member was going to go to war, it was when our service member was going to go to war. And to have those military spouse connections of people who were having those same fears, those same anxieties, those same questions, those same everything at that time was important. I could talk to my family back home. I could go home and visit my family, and they could empathize with me, but they couldn't relate to what I was going through. And so it's important to have those connections.
And then bringing it to, a place where you can feel good and look good and all that. So what does the future hold for Operation Deploy Your Dress?
It's kind of funny. We never know what the future holds for Operation Deploy Your Dress. We've always joked around that it's kind of this ball that rolls and we just kind of run alongside and guide it, keep it out of the gutters, kind of like a bowling ball down a bowling lane. We're the bumpers. We're the bumpers and attempt to keep it out of the gutters and just let it kind of do its thing. And the beauty of it is it's military spouses helping military spouses at the core, but its entirety is really everybody that's helping this. It is bridging that gap between the military and civilian community. It is bridging those similarities between Army spouses and Navy spouses and Marine Corps spouses, because we are all Army spouses that started it, but we have branched out and helped and worked with spouses of all branches of service. So it's, although it started out as a very Army centric organization, we are very purple, which is what they say in the military when it's an all services thing. We're a very purple organization at its core now.
How does it feel for you personally to have a positive impact in people's lives?
The fun part about this, I think, was the most unexpected, obviously beyond the fact that it became what it became, which was very unexpected, is that sometimes as a military spouse, you kind of get consumed by being, Sergeant so-and-so's wife and Lieutenant so-and-so's wife, or, Sergeant so-and-so's spouse, or whatever the case may be. You kind of lose a little bit of your identity. Sometimes you can. And this has just allowed us all to gain an identity in helping while helping other military spouses and pulling other military spouses in too, to say, hey, like, look, come over here. I know maybe you don't have time to have a full-time job right now because of just the way that military life is going, or you don't have, you're busy with small children, so you only have a couple hours a week, but we have a use for you with whatever amount of time you have and with whatever talent you have. So let's figure out how we can use it. Let's figure out how we can help you and help us and help the greater community as a whole, all at the same time. And so I think that's been the biggest surprise, is just how much of an individual identity I was able to gain from this. I joke around that the first time my husband, he was working at the Pentagon, and he came home and told me, I was called Yvonne's husband today. And I'm like, welcome to my world.
There you go.
and this was in his own world, and, in the military setting, in his own job. And he was like, somebody said, oh, you're Yvonne's husband. And he's like, well, yes, I am, so it's fun to be able to to be a unit and be a team as a military family, but it's also fun to have something that's yours and that's not dependent on what your service member's job is at the time or where they're stationed at the time. It's just kind of something that I can wrap my hands around.
Well, I could definitely tell because just talking to you, I hear the enthusiasm in your voice. So what motivates you?
Um, it's fun. We've always said that we want to be the most fun place to volunteer on a military installation. And it genuinely is fun. Like, who doesn't like playing human Barbie with people and helping people feel good? Like,
Right.
there's there's nothing but good positive vibes that come out of this. And so, I think that there's always those sayings out there, and I'm probably not going to get the saying right, but the gist of the saying is like, you surround yourself with positive and good, then you exude positive and good. You surround yourself with negativity, then you kind of are a walking storm cloud, or
Right.
kind of, what you put out is what you bring back, type of thing. And so much positivity and good comes from this that it's hard to be anything but positive and happy when you're doing it. And so it's, I think that's what motivates me, is just being able to help people and, helping people feel good, helping people find a purpose with their time, if that's what the case may be, helping people get out there and connect and build their own community. It's all about helping, and I love helping.
What advice would you give junior military members coming into being a military spouse?
I think the best advice I would give is, there's no one way to military spouse. I think sometimes somebody coming in might see a group of spouses or a single spouse, whatever the case may be, and be like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can start my own nonprofit to make my way in this world, or whatever the case may be. And there's no one way to do it, but just jump in and find your way, make it your way, and get involved in any way that you can, because it's going to be a lot more fun if you get involved. Those spouses who kind of take this isn't my life, this is my service member's career, this is my service member's job, this isn't my life, it makes it a very hard life to live that way, because whether we like it or not, this is our life. It doesn't have to be our entire life, but it is our life. And so you have to be able to embrace it and find ways to plug in and find what fits, keep it, find what doesn't fit, let that fit into somebody else's bag, and just roll with it.